The wait is finally over. Opening day is here. Just about. I know us Rockies and Rays fans have to wait a little bit longer, but we got a big weekend series. What's going on with the Rocks? What's going on with the Rays? And who's going to come out on top as baseball is back?
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock On Rockies fans and Rays fans, welcome into an exciting Locked On crossover here between the NL West and the AL East. I was talking to Ulises out here to start it. Kevin, what an opening series here. Rays, Rockies, it's the most exciting one. There's no other bigger matchup than this one going on this weekend.
100%. My only issue is it should be a 4-game series because I'd like the Rays to get another win or two on the docket. That's my only thought there.
Starting hot.
It's going to be history making because the Rays are playing their home games at Steinbrenner Field. So Rockies fans will get a little bit of taste of that this coming weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be super interesting. We're going to dive right away. So before we dive into everything, just welcome you, of course. This is Locked On Rockies and Locked On Rays. You can find us free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on YouTube. If you want to help the shows, the best way to do it is to head on over to the YouTube channels, Locked On Rockies, Locked On Rays. Like the videos, subscribe, fire off your hot takes in the comments section, and tell me why the Rays are going to beat down the Rockies or why the Rockies are going to upset the Rays. We got lots of baseball to talk about here. But first, this is, I believe, one of our first crossover in a long time. So if you don't know me, I'm Paul Holden, host of Locked On Rockies. And for the Rockies fans, guys, why don't you introduce yourselves and tell us the quick intro here.
I'm Ulises Sambrano, a co-host of Locked On Rays. And to my right, if you're on YouTube, Kevin Weiss. Tell me a little bit about yourself, man.
Oh, well, I'll just say that we've been doing this podcast since 2019, I believe. June of 2019. So it's been a long time. We've been through pandemic, hurricanes, playoff appearances, not making the playoffs. So we've gone through quite the ringer here. Maybe not as much stress and anxiety as Rockies fans. I hate to keep, hating on the Rockies and what Paul is going through. It's just really unfortunate that they haven't been that competitive over the years recently.
No, I mean, it's the honest truth. I mean, and I'm not going to lie. I think Rays fans might have had a little bit tougher of the offseason. I was talking to Ulises before here. My family did go through Hurricane Ian. So, I mean, shout outs to everyone going through this. I hope that today is a big celebration not today. Opening day is a big celebration for everybody there too. But just guys, I know that Rays fans have heard a lot about this, but for the Rockies fans, can you guys just give me the quick run through of because it's not just that, there's ownership, there's moving to a different stadium. Can you guys just give me a quick run through of what the heck has happened for the Rays this offseason?
Sure. So everybody was happy about the stadium situation. It was going to happen. They did this whole parade thing, here to stay. Hurricane happens. The roof is blown off Tropicana Field. A vote for the bonds was delayed for 49 days. The Rays ownership was not happy about that. So there's a little bit of back and forth. And also, while that is going on and the $600 million haven't been approved for the $1.2 billion stadium, well, they also have to figure out where the heck are we going to be playing for 2025. They do not communicate with St. Pete. They do not communicate with Pinellas County. And 30 minutes before the news comes out that they're going to be playing at Steinbrenner Field, 30 minutes before, that's when the Rays ownership, Rays organization tells St. Pete and the county. So obviously not very friendly. Ultimately, the bonds get approved, the $600 million, basically giving the ball to the Rays saying, hey, we've approved the bonds. Are you going to do your part? And saying yes. So Kevin, take it away from there.
Yeah, you pretty much covered the nuts and bolts of it. The Rays are not going through with the new stadium in St. Petersburg, and now there is talk of Stu Sternberg, the principal owner of the team, possibly being forced to sell because Rob Manfred and seemingly the rest of Major League Baseball is upset with him, because how can you turn away $600 million in public funding plus a bunch of redevelopment acreage for pennies on the dollar? Plus, that doesn't even include all the infrastructure improvements that the city would allocate for a new stadium. So he's getting a couple slaps on the hand there. So there are some names floating around that have expressed interest in owning the team. Are they viable? We don't know that yet. But it seems like where there's smoke, there's fire. And at some point, something's going to have to happen on that front. Meanwhile, the city of St. Petersburg is set to vote on roughly $23 million for repairing the Tropicana Field roof, with the hopes or idea that FEMA will be reimbursing or wholly paying for that money there. So there's still a lot of uncertainty up in the air, unfortunately. At the end of the day, I think I speak for most Rays fans, and I think Ulises would agree, whether they end up playing in St. Petersburg or Tampa or Lakeland or unincorporated Hillsborough County or Pinellas County, it doesn't matter. We just want them to wind up and stay in the Tampa Bay area for the next 3 or 4 decades. And if that takes a new ownership group, so be it. I'll just say, and not to go too much on the ownership side of things, but Joe Maddon, former manager of the Rays, beloved manager of the Rays, as he actually took the team from obscurity and suckiness to winning a lot of baseball games over the years and bringing newfound ideas and thought processes to winning baseball games. He made a good point recently on a radio show where he was like, honestly, Stu has owned the team for this long. They've won a lot of games, had a lot of success, but everything that has happened between COVID and the stadium situation and hurricanes, like and all the bad PR that is dealing with right now, he might just want to be like, I'm done with this. I don't even care anymore. I just let me just cash out and take the best offer and get out of here. Is that going to happen? I don't know, but something's going to have to give one way or the other. Otherwise, the Rays are going to be homeless or unhoused if they don't work out something with the lease on Tropicana Field or have a brand new stadium.
Yeah, and I mean, Rockies fans have been calling for change in ownership in Colorado as well. So this is good insight into, obviously there's, hurricanes ain't happening in Colorado, and that's not really going to be a factor there. But when you're talking about everything that goes into what could happen if ownership sells, the team could move, it could be this, it could be that. This is a good reminder, I think, for fans to kind of just remember how complicated that situation is. Let's focus on the baseball here, though. The Rockies and the Rays matching up here, opening day, in what originally I think a lot of people were saying an AL East that's going to be dominated by the Yankees, but they lose a starter there. Things are a little shaky. How are the Rays, and how are you guys feeling with the Rays with everything they've gone through up to this point? How are we feeling going into the season? Is this a year where there should be some expectations for the Rays?
I think expectations are going to be a little bit on the lower side of things, but not too low. Like, we had an episode on Monday drop with all the AL East co-hosts, and the over was 81 wins. And I agreed with Kevin, who was on that show, who said, they're going to be winning more than 81 games. And I agree with that. I think the AL East is now more competitive than ever because of the injuries to Garrett Cole and Luis Gil, the departure of Juan Soto. Now that makes the Yankees a little bit more reachable. Now, have the Red Sox gotten better? Sure. Did the Orioles do enough? Maybe not so much. Are the Blue Jays going to be a disappointment like they have been the last 3 years? Maybe. And so now you're talking about the Rays, and all of their arms are coming back. And I know that we just lost Shane McClanahan because of a nerve in the left tricep.
Such a bummer. Was really looking forward to watching him pitch, not going to lie.
And apparently
you'll
this
still
was
see him, but not on opening day. You'll still see him later on in the season for sure.
Yeah, so it could have been worse. But you still look at the rotation; it looks stacked. You look at the bullpen; you like the names, even though you might not know them nationwide. The numbers are there. Now, the only thing you gotta worry if you're a Rays fan for, I don't know, most of the Rays franchise years is the offense. Are they going to hit enough? And guess what? What we just talked about, stadium situation. Brendan Lau is a guy that can give you 40 home runs. That's a short right porch. Can Brendan Lau stay healthy enough to make some damage? Is Josh Lowe another lefty, a guy that went 20-30 a couple years back? Can he take advantage of that short porch? Junior Caminero, we all saw the bat flip. We all saw the longest home run trot in the Dominican Winter Series final. Can he be a guy that can also bop home runs? So, and then Yandy Diaz, batting title champion, a couple years ago. Is the offense going to click? The arms are going to be there. The defense is going to be there. But the whole question mark is, are the bats going to be there?
Yeah, and I would agree with that. I think Ulises summed it up perfectly. It's really pitching's fine, defense is fine. It's about the hitters bouncing back and playing up to their potential and staying healthy and utilizing Steinbrenner Field and its hitter-friendly dimensions to the best way it can be. Like Brandon Lau, I expect a huge year from him if he can stay healthy. Hey, just give me 130 games, 120 games. That's all I'm asking for. Josh Lowe, Junior Caminero. And then the Rays also uplifted basically the worst offensive positions from previous year or years in catcher and shortstop. Danny Jansen, huge upgrade over what the Rays had last year. And then shortstop, I know he's injured to start the season, but Ha-Seong Kim should provide a much larger boost at that position. And I think that's something that Paul's familiar with, is seeing Kim in the NL West a little bit. So that is something that the Rays and the fandom is really excited about. Highest paid player on the team right now by AAV, I should note. So I really think it's the umbrage of the offense to carry their weight. And if they can be league average, I think really good things can happen. I think if you're a Rays fan, you should be intrigued and have some tempered excitement about this year. I think the AL East, it's totally up for grabs based on what the Yankees are going through. Heck, maybe the Blue Jays at the deadline, they trade Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette. The Orioles, did they do enough to boost up their pitching staff in the offseason? I don't know. I see pretty much every team in the AL East being 500 or better, and there could be a pretty small difference between the number 1 team in the division and the number 4 or 5 team in the division. And I think that should breed some confidence for this squad going forward. And again, the key for them is health. And plus there's some rookies and prospects that might get a call later on in the year that could provide a unique twist in a level of skill set that you normally wouldn't see. Like, I'll just throw out a name, Chandler Simpson. What he does with his legs and his speed could really be a game changer, even if he's only deployed as a part-time utility off the bench player.
And it's interesting, as mentioned, it's got to be really interesting for the Rays' perspective to kind of shift their focus. We have this whole new stadium. We've been familiar. But now we got to refamiliarize and have a new home environment. But you mentioned offense being a thing, and I think Rays fans and people that don't follow the Rockies would be surprised that offense is a huge problem for the Rockies as well. Just because they play at Coors Field does not make this a good offensive team. If you look, this is an offense that's ranked very low. The only team that struck out had as many strikeouts as the Mariners, or just slightly below last year, were the Colorado Rockies. And through spring, they were still striking out 10 times a game. So when they go into a series like this, when the advantage is clearly on the opposition when it comes to pitching, this has to be a situation in which the Rockies have to, impress. Not only is it that, it's a road series. This is kind of a really big test right off the bat for the Rockies. Obviously, not someone that you see much, but when you go up against good pitching on the road, the Rockies have struggled mightily. So for them to get off on the right foot, they're going to have to go out and do some damage here and see what they're going to do. But they're also going to be looking at an offense with taking away one of their key, what we all thought was a key young player, trading Nolan Jones this week, just, right before the season starts, in what looked like a move to replace Estrada, who they just signed to play second base, who broke his wrist. They're out now, but they had other options. So there was kind of some smoke maybe with the Nolan Jones and moving on from him already there. But the Rockies themselves, they have to come out into this opening series ready to start hitting, because it's going to be, that's my biggest question mark for the team, because while it's not Rays good, the Rockies rotation is the best rotation they've had in years, just simply because they're healthy too. This is the first time that the Rockies are going into a season with German Marquez, Kyle Freeland, and Antonio Senzatella, and those three guys were all in the rotation the last time the Rockies were in the playoffs. Not saying the Rockies are going to be in the playoffs, but this is a Rockies team that has had to really pick and choose really last second waiver wire additions to beef out the last part of their rotation. So it'll be interesting to see how the Rockies rotation will stack up against this good Rays rotation, but it'll be two offenses that need to get off on the right the right foot here. And the Rockies had an exciting prospect. Zach Veen didn't end up making the team. So the Rockies will turn to some veteran guys. Nick Martini making the team. Kyle Farmer is another name that the Rockies are going to turn to here, and they're also going to be figuring out some of those young guys because they got a log jam in the outfield. Let's keep breaking down what's going on here on opening day, but we got to take a quick break to let you know about the folks that help make this show possible. We will be right back here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Well, our first sponsor for today is Prize Picks. Prize Picks has got you covered with baseball season being back and in full swing. There's no better way to get on the action than with Prize Picks. It's the best place for daily fantasy sports. With Prize Picks, you pick more or less on at least 2 player projections. And if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, Prize Picks keeps every game exciting. If you want my recommendation for this Rays series, take the over or the more on all of the Rays pitcher strikeouts. I guarantee you they're going to hit. Well, I probably shouldn't guarantee you, but it's a good call. I promise you. You can take advantage of special promos. It's super easy to set a lineup. It takes less than 60 seconds. And when you win, your payout is quick, safe, and secure. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly. After you play your first $5 lineup, that's code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. We are also brought to you today by Supply House. Supply House has got you covered if you are in the skilled trades. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your order. That's SH5 for 5% off your order at supplyhouse.com. Locked On Rockies, Locked On Rays here, getting ready for opening day. Excitement in the air, building here as we got a very, very interesting opening day. Not only a matchup, but a historical opening day as the Rays have a temporary home. And with this, I think it's fun, though. I'm actually really encouraged by not just I think it's really cool that these two teams are matching up. The Rockies, starting against the D-backs or a usual NL West rival. I can see why you would do it, but I think it's fun that these two teams get to match up to kick off the season.
Yeah, I think it gives us, a little bit of a 90s feel, right? Expansion teams meeting up. And it's, I'm a fan of it. I've always been a fan of interleague play. And now with the DH, it's just like any other team, but a team that you don't regularly see. So as a fan, as a baseball fan, I dig it. And I think if you're a podcast listener, a podcast subscriber, I think it's also kind of cool to learn about a team that you are not going to be facing a lot. So maybe Rockies fans are not that in tuned with Junior Caminero or Yandy Diaz and their struggles with their stadium. And like Weiss, Rays fans might not be too familiar with Kyle Farmer, or that Nolan Jones was traded, or who's that best Rockies rookie that could be the next guy, but he was sent to AAA because unexpectedly, these things happen in Colorado.
Yeah, it's been an off season where the Rockies have cut payroll. We thought they were going youth movement, and the moves they've made just seem like the Rockies are kind of really set in their ways, which is a disappointment. But I got two names for Rays fans here to keep an eye on in this series for you, for folks that probably aren't familiar with the team. You mentioned shortstop being a position that the Rays have needed to improve in. The Rockies, I have an argument here. They have a top 5 shortstop in all of baseball. Maybe I'm a little too overhyped putting my Homer hat on, but Ezequiel Tovar has proven to be one of the best young players in baseball. And if he stops striking out at a 200 strikeout a year rate, which unfortunately has been the the big problem. This is a guy that can lead Major League Baseball in doubles. This is a guy that can drive in 80 runs a year. This is a guy that can hit 20 home runs. This is a guy that's already won a Gold Glove. When you're talking about who is the next Rocky, ideally it's Ezequiel Tovar. They've signed him already to a long-year deal. They didn't want to deal with arbitration or anything like that. They said, let's get this done. You're here. And on top of that, they've also had what I think has kind of been a sneaky surprise throughout all of baseball. The Rockies have an incredible center fielder. And it's not too much of an exaggeration to say this. He's on track and has performed at an argument to being the best center fielder the Rockies might have ever had in Brenton Doyle. This is a guy who couldn't hit at all his rookie year, but was playing elite level defense. So we went into last year just saying, if he hits I heard the phrase, if he hits league average, he's going to be good. So we were just hoping he hits league average. He goes and he's a 20, I believe he might have been close to a 30-30 guy last year, but this guy steals bases. He is a Gold Glover in center field, back-to-back Gold Gloves, and is now going to be the leadoff hitter for the Rockies, hopefully, setting the tone for this team. There are fun and interesting parts of the Rockies, but it's a team that just, again, back-to-back 100-loss seasons, but they're bringing back the same manager. They brought back the same hitting coach. They brought back the same pitching coach. They have the same basically nothing really changed outside of they moved on from Brendan Rodgers, who was a former first-round pick from second base, and tried to go cheaper there. And they traded Nolan Jones, like we mentioned, which was a pretty big deal for a lot of people, because just a couple years ago, before last year, which was a lost season for Jones, this was a guy that was a 4-WAR season and Rookie of the Year votes. So this is a moment I think the Rockies really have to come out and prove themselves. They have to prove that what they're doing makes sense and that they're putting themselves in the best position to be successful, because I really do worry. Jake Cave played 120 games for the Colorado Rockies last year. You're probably saying, who the heck is Jake Cave? Exactly. He's a veteran backup guy that got way too much playing time for the Colorado Rockies last year, and it seems like they're setting that stage again. Will it happen? It's just the jury's still out. But this is a situation in which I think the Rockies have to come out in this series and show it. But on the flip side, when I bring this up, teams like the Rays can't afford to lose to the Rockies.
No, not at all. And it's funny you brought up some of those points, Paul, because I was just chomping at the bit about possibly a top 5 shortstop. I'm kind of jealous. Well, the Rays had that a couple years ago in Wander Franco, and I think most people know about the situation that turned out there. And then center field, having a reliable, quality, on the rise center fielder, that's something that the Rays have been clamoring for. So those are 2 key points. Yeah, and another thing that I was curious about too was Chris Bryant. Like, what are the expectations for Chris Bryant, a guy who has played, I think, 159 total games across 3 seasons? So I would think that in order for the Rockies to be semi-competitive this year, they would need a huge campaign from him, especially when they've opted some other guys, and a guy that I was always a fan of, Charlie Blackmon's no longer around, so that kind of changes the dynamic of the team a little bit. And I would think that he would have to have a huge year, Chris Bryant, that is, for the Rockies to make a dent in the NL West.
Yeah, and you say, what are expectations? We haven't been able to make any expectations, and unfortunately they're low. I wish I could sit here and say that I'm really confident in this version of Chris Bryant being able to come out and have a strong campaign and do things, but really not a great spring. Didn't play a ton in spring, and we heard the good stuff. Great workout program, healthy. We've heard that one a couple of times, but this was a team that has watched Chris Bryant play right field and hurt his back. And then it's the offseason, amidst all this logjam of they're going to put Chris Bryant back out there. I don't know if they're still going to do it, but they're still talking about doing it. The expectation for Chris Bryant should be, you are the DH and your job is to get back to being the offensive threat that you once were. The power, there's a lot of dips in the advanced end. If you dive deep into Chris and Bryant numbers, you really get worried. And so, again, when we're talking about prove it, this is a guy that we're waiting for the big Chris Bryant season. We would love to see it, but I from at least the pulse that I'm taking on Rockies fans that I know, the expectations are low, and you can't afford to have your DH batting 4 and batting 174.
How many years are left in his contract?
I believe I believe this is basically the halfway point. He's about 3 or 4 years still on this. And, people have talked about cutting him. People have talked about releasing him and just eating that money.
I
And
know.
it's like, that's still a lot. But I think the thing, for Ace fans to remember, the Chris Bryant deal was signed in the aftermath of the Nolan Arenado trade. This was supposed to be the way to make that pill a lot easier to swallow and have your next big star. So I don't really have expectations for Chris Bryant. I need to see him play 100 games. I need to see him play 70 games, 65, so and at the point, he's going to be a point where he's blocking guys. And if we got young, exciting guys, and if they can start swinging it, you can only rely on Chris Bryant for so long. But on the flip side, if he does break out, will be huge for the Rockies.
It's so funny how you can just have the same issue going throughout organizations in MLB, and then some people just look at their roster and go like, oh, we just need that one guy, that big contract. And that's what the Rays fans always say. If we just had money, man, and we can just get that one guy that can just push us. And then Rockies fans are probably going like, why did we sign Chris Bryant to this massive albatross of a deal? It's like you can never be happy with what you get, right? It's difficult. But, when you talk about staying healthy on the field and being productive, that's why I said earlier, Paul, Brendan Lau. Mm-hmm. That's the guy. Short porch. He needs to stay on the field. And if that's, giving Curtis Mead, another guy that maybe Rockies fans don't hear too often. He's Australian. He's friend of the pod. He's been in Locked On Race as well. He has had a tremendous spring. I mean, if you look at Curtis Mead's stats, you would think it's a video game. Maybe it's a little bit more giving Curtis Mead some starts at second base and keeping Brendan Lau healthy at DH, just like you're saying Chris Bryant could do, to get that power in the lineup and keep him healthy. Because, Kevin, I think we've only seen truly one full season of Brendan Lau, which was 2021, and that's a season where he got 39 home runs.
Yeah, and that was a good one. That was, if you can stay healthy for that amount of time, that would be very ideal. And I think that's where the Rays, I don't know how the Rockies play their DH, but the Rays can use that as a revolving door to give a guy a rest, then give another guy an opportunity and a rest. And I think that they can work that out and give multiple players the time. Okay, you don't need to be out in the field for 9 innings in the heat and the humidity, especially at Steinbrenner Field. We're going to give you a breather. Just get up 3 or 4 times a game and you'll be good to go. And you hope that's really one of my big concerns is the travel considerations with the altered schedule and not playing in a dome that's 72 degrees. How does that impact this team for a full season? And I think that'll be something to watch and monitor as we get into the dog days of summer. When August hits, September hits, do the pitchers and position players have any gas left? And that's going to be something to look out for later on this year.
And to add on that, Rockies fans might not be aware, but due to them playing in Steinbrenner Field outside, the Rays are playing something like 42 of their first 59 games at home, which means July and August, they're not unpacking their suitcases, Paul. Okay, like they are just getting dry cleaning basically July and August. And what are we saying as baseball fans, as baseball players that we hear them often say, the dog days of summer, July, August, man. So in the hardest time of the year for a baseball player, these guys are going to be tested by not being home and just getting on the travel and the airplanes, the late nights. How does their body going to be reacting to that? So it's a lot to unpack just because it's a new environment for them this year.
That's amazing. You know what? I didn't even think. I was thinking about, what about the dome? But then it's because if you're dealing with the rain and the modified, that'll be a wrinkle that I'm sure is going to be something you guys talk about a lot. All right, let's do some predictions. Let's put a bow on this crossover here and get ready for one of the best days on the sports calendar. If you're a baseball fan, arguably the best day on the sports calendar, opening day. We're going to do that after a quick break right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Before we do that, we are brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. If you're looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, then you should crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. And if you don't want to make a big old mess on your desk, get the no shells variety because they are perfect for grab and go or a snack while you're at work. And I don't know, I'm more of a fan of cracking them open and eating them. I mean, I think that kind of goes with the baseball fan in us. But get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Wonderful Pistachios. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. That's wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Locked on Rays, Locked on Rockies, closing things out here on this crossover edition. Guys, let's just do a quick little breakdown here of how we think this opening series is going to go. I hope the Rockies pull off the upset. They are sending out their 3 best arms here, and Germán Marquez usually starts the season off a little slow when the weather's cooler, but being in a little bit more of a warm environment, I'm wondering if that's going to be great. Antonio Senzatella coming off the best pitching, the best spring for a Rockies pitcher ever in terms of ERA, actually. So that'll be interesting there for game 3 of this matchup. My gut tells me the Rays are going to win, but my heart tells me the Rockies are going to pull off the opening series upset. But it all starts with Kyle Freeland, and he wants to wash away a nightmare of an opening day last year where the Diamondbacks just unloaded to start the season. But I think I'm taking the Rays. In 2, I'm not giving it a sweep. I think the Rockies will take at least one of these games in this series.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Rays take 2 of 3. I won't get as rambunctious as saying they sweep the whole thing. I think that something working in the Rockies' favor is the fact that Shane McClanahan will not be the opening day starter. It will be Ryan Pepiot. And I think we're still kind of question marking how this team is going to play. This isn't their home. So how are they? It might take them a couple of series to really adjust to the confines and how the ball plays, because it's not like they played at Steinbrenner Field the entirety of spring training. I mean, they might have had a game here or there, an inning here or there, but it's still new terrain for them, although the stadium's been totally rebranded in the last couple of days. I don't know how they did all that. It's pretty amazing if you get a chance to look at it. But I would think that's a somewhat respectable prediction of the Rays take 2 of 3 and then move on to their next series. I'll tell you what, they can't have as bad of a start as they did last year, because the wheels came off after the atrocious start that the Rays had. And I know spring training, there's always going to be positivity and good quotes and good comments here and there, but I think that the Rays did something key in getting rid of some of the players that were very self-involved and selfish and just about themselves and not team-oriented. And I think that there's the camaraderie and the group and the chemistry is a little bit better this year than past years. And hopefully that carries them a little bit, at least through the first series and hopefully the whole year.
To what Kevin alludes to, there was a massive fire sale. That's the way to look at it. In last year, I think 10 or 11 players were traded, amongst them Randy Arozarena, for example, who apparently had a lot of beef with Yandy Diaz. Mm-hmm. So it might not be that Randy was a bad guy in the clubhouse, but if he's not getting alongside a guy that's your batting title winner, maybe these are things that you have to address. So just like I just said to you, the Rays won just that one guy, that big contract to pull them over the edge. And you guys are like, why do we have this albatross of a contract? The Yankees are getting a little bit relaxed right now. They can have beards in their club, in their clubhouse, right? What's so cool? We can have beards in 2025.
Oh, you could be on the team.
Yeah, exactly.
Finally.
Maybe walk on. But the Rays are going the opposite way. The Rays are known for a very relaxed clubhouse and hey, we just be who you are, just come and play hard. This year, they've actually gotten some rules attached to them. No more pink belts. Getting a little bit more standard. Only Rays shirts to be worn during warm up and practice and all that. So, to what Kevin is saying, I think there's going to be a more of a focus on getting the team camaraderie together a little bit better than last year. Hopefully that gives them a common foundation, a common ground to go forward through a very weird season. They've got a guy that's already experienced that, and I think that's a very key thing that a lot of people are not talking about. Danny Jansen did the same thing with the Toronto Blue Jays when they had to play in Dunedin after COVID season, right? So I think that's a big thing, and he's a catcher, so he's already a leader in the clubhouse, just like every other catcher is. So going to the first question, prediction, I do think it's going to be 2 out of 3 going the Rays way. I just don't know who I want to tag the loss to. Ryan Pepiot in the opening day? Is it Zach Littell, who was amazing last year? Or am I going to tag it to Tash Bradley? I don't know which one of those guys. So maybe we can put it on the bullpen. But I like the bullpen too, Paul. What do? I don't know.
I think you have confidence in a team that's going to win a lot of ball games, while us Rockies fans are hopefully going to avoid 3 straight 100-loss seasons. But it all starts this weekend here. I know it's going to be a busy season for the Rays. It's already been a busy offseason, so you got to make sure you're staying up to date with all things Locked On Rays. Where the Rockies fans going to make sure they're staying up to date with all things you guys?
Oh, just Locked On Rays on YouTube. Click it on any of your podcast feed, Locked On Rays, and you can find us on socials as well. But just like you would find Locked On Rockies, you can type in Locked On Rays after you listen to Locked On Rockies and find us there.
Absolutely. Find us on your favorite streaming services. Like we said, every time you like a video and when you subscribe, you're helping the shows out big time. Folks, happy opening day, and we will see you all season long right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.